Performance measurement is no longer about common sense, even if the sense is not very common. In the digital era, it's very much about measuring what really matters, and that is not an obvious thing to establish. Instead of being far too absorbed with what to measure and how to measure it, the focus ought to be on what is achieved. The other challenging question is the new mindset has to be based on accepting that a disruption has taken place, moving the practice of measurement from what we can refer to as a linear, predictable approach to a dynamic approach, which is much more based on built insight. There are 11 elements that define measurement in the context of a digital era. First, the notion that the horse must come before the carriage. And this means that a strategy of measurement has to precede key performance indicator management. Any organization wishing to capitalize on the practice of measurement must first and foremost define the scope, the scale, the context. And this can only be done in determining how wide, how far-reaching, how meaningful, and how interrelated things are in order to track measurement and improvement from a holistic perspective and touching precisely what is good about the organization and what is a concern and what can be enhanced further. Secondly, in the context of an ecosystem, measurement is the lifeblood of any organization, and measurement has to flow throughout the ecosystem, and it has to establish interdependencies, high levels of synergy, and guide the efforts towards generating the highest level of impact possible. And in so doing, it has also got to give the organization better understanding and bigger insights. Thirdly, measurement requires knowledge, skills, and expertise if it has to be driven properly and if it is to provide real value. The level of understanding, the level of skills and competencies, and the decision-making that is related to designing key performance indicators, deploying them, calculating the contribution that they make, and linking them to other KPIs is very critical. Number 4, measurement has several hidden costs. It has to be managed with care so that it provides real value. And this, in the context of managing performance measurement effectively and by optimizing the cost that is necessary to have a sophisticated measurement system. Unless it's valuable and unless it is meaningful, unless it tracks in the right way, unless it is current, and unless it's complete, and more importantly, unless it hits the bullseye, measurement will be considered to be futile and a cost to the organization. Number 5, measurement must be applied to soft areas as much as the hard ones. In the context of an ecosystem and in any organization that is propelled by digital technology, the measurement has to be fit for the purpose, and soft is ultimately to be considered hard. Number 6, complex systems are similar to the dynamicity and the behavior of organizational ecosystems. In actual fact, organizational ecosystem could be considered even more complex. So measurement cannot be applied through linear perspective by having individual KPIs working in isolation as single devices of tracking and single focus areas. What makes measurement more valid and more useful is the establishment of the interdependencies and the level of connectivity that exists both within the organization and outside it. 7th, measurement has to be able to track the right behavior and determine the momentum that exists within the organization. Otherwise, decisions will be made on the basis of assumptions or by extrapolating, since the data is not seamless and is not complete. And more importantly, in this digital era, being able to assess the momentum that the organization works with and propels itself is critical in determining whether to disrupt, whether to transform, or whether to accelerate the pace of activity. 8, the result of measurement is not what is attainable. It is really the real outcome that matters most, and that's the impact generated from the point of view of customers, and particularly if it relates to their daily life and their well-being. In a sense, the word attainable means reaching an end, reaching a destination. However, the tracking is not of the KPI itself and the data it generates, but rather the tracking is very much on what is sought to be achieved, and that is effort, momentum, meaningful outcomes. Number 9, the real value from measurement is its value in terms of improvement, optimization, and delivering better understanding, better insight in support of making the right decisions and managing the future with confidence. Number 10, by building a culture of smart measurement. This must help induce what we can refer to as the inquiry mindset, and that is to generate better understanding of how the ecosystem as a whole works and making the right decisions that matter for the present as much as for the future of the organization. Lastly, agile measurement in terms of design and execution must help the organization to be able to direct and induce changes, and the right measurement, which is agile, will as a result contribute in supporting and shadowing the changes in terms of both behavior and momentum.